Welcome to INE podcast. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for staying with us. We wanted to, speak on this issue that has been making rounds on social media. This story has been trending both on X and Instagram, Facebook, wherever you get your news from. You might have seen it. This is actually about two children. Maybe apparently they had a misunderstanding and they couldn't handle their issue very well, and then one of them decided to take it further, and then escalated the situation real quick, and unfortunately one of them lost their life. Tonight we wanted to talk about it as parents, how we can keep up with our children, make sure we stay in the know about what they're going through, what is happening to them, about their studies, about their schooling, how we can support the teachers, how we can collaborate with the school to make sure that they come out good and the way we would like, and be proud of them. For me, on many occasions, my kids, their teachers have reached out to me about probably some behaviors that is not that really really good. So in many occasions, I had to step in. I had to talk to them. For some of them, I will make sure that tell my children, go back to school. When you get there, make sure you apologize. To the student that you had a misunderstanding with. And a lot of time I follow up with the teacher as well, send the teachers a message and, ask them to help me broker peace between them, and then making sure that it doesn't escalate, further than that. So, we want to, speak to these issues because I don't think this is new. If you're a parent and you have children in school, I'm almost certain that you may have witnessed this at some point, or maybe the school had reached out to you at some point, talking to you about your kids' behavior. I know we try to raise them as good as we can, but a lot of times, things don't always pan out. They don't put up the best behavior, maybe because they're in the midst of people. I don't really blame them. We are once children and we once behaved like them. So what do you think?
Yeah, I believe that the parents can do their best job by keeping their kids safe, by constantly talking to them to make good decisions, to make better decisions in life. But when the kids get out there, you know, kids can pretend at home. They can do a lot of pretense at home, and their parents would think, "Hey, my son is not troublesome, my daughter's not troublesome," but you don't really know what behaviors they put up with or what behaviors they show other people out there. And that's where the problem is. The parents can do a better job knowing what's going on in the lives of their children, but at the same time, if the child or the children are not showing their true color at home, I don't know how the parent can actually do the controlling. I don't know how the parent can look out for them if they're putting up good behaviors at home and then they get out there and acting out and do all sort of things. I know we've all been teenagers before. There's some things that we did while we were younger that we weren't proud of. There were some things that we could have done a better job addressing while growing up. They always have misunderstanding with each other, getting to a level of stabbing, getting to a level of gun violence. It's really unacceptable. Back in the days, people would fight. They'll fight with their hands. They'll throw some hands, but not stabbing, but not gun violence. I believe we can all do a better job as parents to teach our children how to control their anger. I always say this: you can control your response to what people do to you, but you can't really control what others do to you, whether they're trained properly at home or not. People out there are gonna make you misbehave. They're gonna make you say things that you would normally say. They're gonna make you do things that you don't want to do. If there are bullies out there, we need to prepare our children to how to, make sure they don't fall victims to bullies out there. You can't control what people do to you, but you can control your response. I don't think the young man did a good job controlling his response. Even if the other guy put his hands on him or tried to bully him, I don't think it warrants a situation where you pull out a knife or pull out a gun and take someone's life or try to hurt somebody, you know. This is where anger management comes into play. And maybe there's an underlying issue. Maybe there's been previous instances where this young boy has been bullied by the same person or a different person in the past. So I think the outburst was probably caused by a combination of different things out there. So maybe mental health, maybe anger. It could be all sorts of different reasons. But we all need to do a better job controlling our anger, even older folks. Some people, they're like a walking time bomb. If you don't talk to them appropriately, they might go off on you. You know, you don't know what people are going through out there. You don't know what their mental health is like. But I just say we all need to calm down. We all need to just chill. We can always talk to our children. We can always try to give them a safe space at home where they'll be comfortable to talk to their parents. They'll be comfortable talking about things that are happening around them, at school or around the neighborhood. But when kids don't want to share, they don't want to share. If they're not comfortable with you, even as their parent, they won't share with you. But they're comfortable confiding in other people. They're comfortable confiding in other kids out there. They're gonna teach them bad things. They're gonna push them in the wrong direction. We'll continue to talk to our kids to make good decisions, encourage them, give them a safe space. That way they can be comfortable to share whatever issues they've got going on. They can be comfortable sharing whatever, hardship they're going through out there. A lot of these kids have um, social media groups where they've been bullied. People don't know about it. Only their friends, only their classmates wouldn't will get to know about it. And if you don't share it, there's no way this can be addressed. And then when these kids start going crazy, start fighting back, these are the things that would happen. So we can all do a better job making sure our kids don't get to this level, making sure that they are able to control their anger and they respond to criticism, they respond to bully in an appropriate manner.
Yeah, that was a nice take. This reminds me of the situation that happened. I think that was like 3 years ago when Elvis was going um from first grade to second grade. So I registered him for summer school then. He was the only one in school, he wasn't in school yet. Then he came back from school one day, from summer school one day, and was explaining to me that there is this big kid in the bus that that keep picking on him, bullying him. That got to me, and I think I told him, I said, I will go and talk to your bus driver so that they will start putting you in the front and leave the big kid in the back. Say, Daddy, no, I will try to defend myself. I'm like, see, this kid is bigger than you. How are you going to defend yourself? And throughout that period, his behavior changed. The way he talked to his mother changed. He tried to mark his territory and stuff like that. But I had to step in and break whatever that was going on then. And I went to the school, talked to the principal, and then they addressed the situation. And the subsequent summer schools, in fact, the last two summer schools, I did not register it because what happened is that they end up with other kids, like bigger kids in the bus, like the kids that they are not used to. They end up with them in the bus, and is not always good. And that was not just happening in the bus. The kid was taking it to the school again, and it's not their usual school. It's another school. I think it was Blue and Good Academy, a different school from their school. So I think that kid was from that particular school that they were observing the summer school that time. So the two subsequent summer schools I did not register in. Um, yeah, that is a bigger problem with the issue of bullying. Is something that we need to take very seriously in this country. That was why sometime early this year, he had a problem with somebody in the school. He hit this kid, and then the teacher sent me a message about it. So I was mad. And when he came back, we addressed it, we talked about it, and I told him, make sure you go back to school tomorrow, tell that kid sorry. I want your teacher to text me and tell me that you did that. And I text the teacher, I told her to follow up, and then she did, and she got back to me that everything be settled. So the issue of bullying is a big issue. Some people try to bottle it, and over time they can no longer hold it and they get out of control. But no matter the situation, I don't think is enough reason, to take somebody else's life. And there is almost like an issue here. I used to tell people that the difference between the school and the prison system is very, very slim. Everything is done the same. The bus system, the cafeteria, everything look exactly the same. Activities looks exactly the same. The only difference is that you get to go home every day and come back the next day. That is almost the only reason I see that the only thing that I see that is different between the school and the prison. So what I'm trying to say is that these children, the teachers, because Elvis was telling me when the issue was going on, I asked him, why did you not report to your teacher? He said they told them not to report. Like, don't snitch on people. And that is exactly the culture in the prison. You could see somebody dying in the prison of maybe somebody stabbed them, blood dripping all over, and you ask him what happened. He will tell you nothing happened. Almost the same culture in the school. When he told me that they said don't report nobody, don't snitch on nobody, I was surprised because he said when he do and people get to know that he reported, then people will be talking about him and calling him snitch. I was crazy. I was crazy. I went to the principal straight. I think as a parent also we need to do better. Probably we need to spend more time with the children. This is America. It's quite different from Nigeria. I went to school in Nigeria, primary, secondary. My parents has never came to my school for any reason, even for PTA. They never came to the school. But here we just have to be part of it. As a parent, we should try as much as possible to be there. Maybe if we need to reduce our work, spend more time with them because that's the only way they can trust and confide in us and be able to tell us those things maybe that ordinarily they wouldn't tell you. They need to feel comfortable. Like Ellen, there is nothing she don't tell me. Like yesterday she was telling me that there is this kid when they go out to play, the kid that tell Elvis to go and bring fruit snacks for him. And God may have it, I was at home yesterday evening and Elvis came in from where they were playing and was heading to the garage. I said, where you going? He said he was going to open the garage. Why are you opening the garage? So I started interrogating him and he told me that the kid asked him to go. I said, go back to that kid, tell him that he's crazy. Tell him that I was angry. So we need to get close to these children. And I understand that, at some point they will start growing and they will start keeping to themselves. But if at this time, we befriend them, we make them our friends, maybe not really friends, but bring them closer to us, maybe they will be they'll be more free to divulge information, give us information, talk to us, tell us those things that is happening around them. And that is the only way we can be in the know. And, we need to control our emotion, even as adults, we need to also control our emotion. But the children, I think they are growing and they are not there yet. But from this young age, we need to, start talking to them about that, start letting them know how to control themselves and most essentially keeping their hands to themselves and not putting their hands on people because you never know, it can go either way. The person you're thinking that you beat up will end up beating you and then rubbing you on the floor. So definitely keeping our hands to ourselves is a good thing to do. And I don't know, America, I'm not sure where America is heading. Before, when we were in school in Nigeria, we used to fist fight with our hands, throw hands. But here, people would rather fight with weapon than, throw hands or use their hands.
Yes, that is a tough pill to swallow. And if you think about it, bullying is a big problem here in America, in high school, in middle school, in elementary school. And when the kids report, I don't think the school authorities do anything about it. Well, depending on the severity of the case, I don't think they do much. If it's just a minor incident, they don't really do much about it. If a kid reports another kid to the teacher will just send them to the principal's office, and we don't know what they do to them at the principal's office. So, and sometimes when they go to the principal's office, they probably call their parents and have them pick them up. I don't think that's enough punishment to stop them from bullying other kids in the class. But if there's a severe penalty for kids bullying other kids, maybe the bullies will stop doing it. Because if bullies are not held accountable, they will continue to do what they know how to do best, which is to bully people. And it's going to have a negative impact on the other kids in the classroom. So parents should do a good job talking to their kids and making sure that their kids are not causing problems for other kids out there, making sure that the kids are properly trained, making sure they're doing their good job and not just focusing on other things of life. As we know, when kids start getting in trouble, it it's just gonna continue to spiral downhill from there. When kids don't get held accountable, they will continue to do the same thing all over again. So the parents should control their kids. They should, talk to them. I know the school authorities can't do much about it. At the same time, the ball is in the courts of the parent. And many of these kids are from a single parent home. They don't have the necessary support that they need. Maybe their parent worked 2 jobs, 3 jobs to be able to make ends meet, and they don't have time for the kid. They don't have time to check on their homeworks. They don't have time to make sure they don't roll with bad people, making sure they don't join gangs. And this thing continues over and over and over again until the kid gets to high school and start getting in bigger trouble. So that's another thing that the government can help with. But we live in a capitalist economy. The government cannot provide for a single parent if their income exceeds a certain threshold. So without the help, or the parent won't be there, and the parents are not there, the child or the children are gonna turn to whatever they want to turn into. So yeah, it's a complicated matter. If the government can jump in and help the parent out a little bit so they can spend a little bit of time with the children and train their kids properly so they don't go out there and cause a nuisance to other children or other people out there, that would be a good thing. But we live in a capitalist economy. There's no social welfare for individuals. If you are a corporation, you definitely get some social benefit. It is what it is, and we'll continue to hope and talk about it and make sure that this parents are taking care of their kids, and government is doing their responsibility as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm not even sure, like you have highlighted, it does look like all this issue of bullying, issue of a troubled child in school. Will it be safe to say this only happens in the low income neighborhood? Because if you live in a very good area, well, and the school system is good, maybe because we don't live those area, but we rarely hear things like this in well-to-do schools. I think this predominantly happen in our low income neighborhood, and that brings me to the idea of maybe as a parent we should do our very very best to make sure that we are able to be living in a good area, in a good neighborhood, where the school system is good, where the school is able to support your children. Because take for instance, if you live on the east side, the chances of this happening is probably very, very high. Everybody is trying to assert dominance, and most people are not even, there in school to learn. They're just there for maybe to eat their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, probably for breakfast and lunch, just to get it over with for that day. Yeah, the issue of bullying is definitely a big one that needs to be addressed. We need to be in their life more. We just need to support them more. And then we also need to read the room. And when they are leaving for school or when they are asleep, we should cultivate the habit of checking in their area, checking in their bags and stuff, because the kid that stabbed this other kid is believed that he took a knife to school, and that is bad. That is I'm not going to entirely blame the parent, and the parent has some of the blame to take. We need to go in there, check in their bags, check their work, check their room, make sure that they are not hiding anything. Overall, as a parents, we definitely need to step up our game. I know we can be very busy sometimes. It can be overwhelming. We're trying to take care of the home front. We're trying to take care of the bills. We're trying to catch up on work. We're trying to, also catch up on our lives as well. But we just need to, try as much as possible, to be there, because tomorrow, if they turn out to be bad, if they become a trouble, it will be our responsibility, it will be our problem. God forbid they end up in the justice system. We are going to bear the brunt. So we just need to, get ahead of it right now and make sure that, it doesn't get out of control. We're able to keep everything in check right now and then make sure that they turn out to be good.
Yes, I do agree with you that a lot of these problems are like to likely to happen in a low income label. But in this specific case, I don't think it happened in a low income neighborhood. I think it's more of a middle class family. Fights happens everywhere. In private schools, fights do happen. But whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So everything that happens in a private school stays in a private school. It doesn't get exposed to the media unless it involves rough fatality. If it doesn't involve a life or death situation, we'll never hear about it. So the schools are gonna cover up to protect their brand, to protect their image. Yeah. So I'm sure it happens everywhere. Kids will always be kids. Bullies will always be bullies. They'll try to bully other kids to exert dominance on them, to show they're a tough guy or a tough girl. So yeah, I think the parent should be doing a better job on checking up on their kids, making sure that they're not causing troubles, making sure that they're not carrying guns to school, making sure they're not carrying any weapon to go fight or to go defend themselves. I'm sure, kids want to defend themselves, but there's a proper way of doing it. Violence is not the answer. Violence would not solve the problem. It'll, end people's life. Violence will end people's life. But it'll cause headaches for both defendant and the plaintiff's family. For example, the case in Texas, both families are being threatened, maybe by supporters of both sides. Yeah, so cases like these can always be prevented if the schools can start taking charge and holding students accountable, holding the bullies accountable. The other kids that are there, they're witnessing. They need to be standing up and making sure things like this don't happen. Before the advent of camera phone, when people get in fight, people will try to separate them. But these days, when people get in fight, they pull out their phones and try to go live on Instagram, go live on Facebook, and catch everything to be able to get some click on the internet. So I'm sure that's part of the problem, but it is what it is. Parents need to take care of their kids. They need to start holding their kids accountable, making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, making sure they're not causing troubles out there, and everybody can live in peace and in unity.
I think the reason why it looks like the schools don't do nothing about this situation is because everybody is trying to retire on time. Everybody is trying to make some quick money. So you never know when somebody will be bringing lawsuit, and God forbid they award them your retirement savings and everything you worked for in your life. So I think that's why teachers are just, abstaining or not, taking active role in that and pushing it back to, parents to take care of. As a parent, it's your responsibility to raise your children well, to represent you. Yeah, that's your responsibility. And one of my problem with this whole situation is that I am seeing a lot of people like us condoning what this guy did, trying to support him, trying to say he did the right thing, trying to say he did not do anything wrong. And I think that's the very, very best time to take, because let's reverse the situation. This was a black kid that was stabbed to death by a white guy. The outrage would have been a lot louder than what it is right now. In fact, cities would have been going down. We've seen it in the past. Riot would have been going on. But for some of us to be coming out to say that the kid did nothing wrong, that the other kid was just a bully and he got what he deserved, that is pathetic. That is a very, very wrong stand to take. Yeah, as a parent, as whatever you think of yourself is a very bad stand to take. We need to cultivate the habit of, calling things as they are. What the boy did was criminal, and I'm even more disturbed that people are contributing money for him. They open a GoFundMe account for him to fund what exactly? To fund his defense, or what? What is he going to defend? What he did, he simply committed murder, and I think he should go down for it, regardless of his age. Yeah, he can be. In fact, some crime you commit, even as a minor, they can charge you as an adult. When I was in Department of Correction, we had a situation like that. This kid went to rob this family, and then the whole thing escalated quickly, and he ended up killing the wife and the husband. He was like 11 at that time. He was charged as an adult and sentenced as an adult. He started in the juvenile. As soon as he turned 16, they brought him to the adult prison. Then he got cancer, and he died. I think at 18, when he turned 18, he died of that cancer. Yeah. I think this kid needs to go down for what he did. He committed murder. That was premeditated. He thought about it, and to the point that he took a knife, stabbed the other kid. And in fact, if you take time to listen to the whole thing, read up on the case, you will see that the kid planned the whole thing. I think he needs to go down for it. Seeing a lot of people like me saying that he don't have to, that he has defense to put up, well, I'm not sure. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a judge. Probably not going to end up as a jury on that case. But I would definitely like to see him being found guilty and sentenced, and then did a bid on that. He definitely have to, because if he don't, who knows tomorrow what else he will do.
Violence is never the answer. I'll let the court system, do their thing. Murder is never acceptable. Young kids and adults should be able to control their anger and not take anyone's life. If it's found guilty, they'll definitely go down for it. But if it's not found guilty, we'll see what happens. They'll do the investigation. There'll be jury. There'll be attorneys on both sides fighting for both the deceased and the defendant. We'll be talking about it and making sure that everyone gets the justice they deserve.
Yeah, definitely. The reason why I spoke in that manner is because I am putting myself in the situation of the deceased family. Nothing will be able to bring their kid back, no matter how, if the kid was a bad kid or was a good kid. But just the thought of, the fact that you will not see him again is heart wrenching. God forbid, I don't even know how, as a parent, how I would feel in that situation. I think it was an avoidable situation. The other kid just couldn't manage his emotion. We understand he's a kid, he's developing, but at 7, he should be getting up there. But I don't blame him very much, but I also would really like him to do some time for his crime. I mean, because I think some of the things that happened after that was he was asking police if, he can claim self-defense. No, you cannot claim self-defense. That's not a self-defense, because I am seeing a lot of people like me that is saying that if you do something to somebody, you are not in a position to tell the other person how to react. I think common sense demands that, if somebody probably hit you, is not enough reason to kill the person. I mean, it's unfortunate how some of us try to spin issues like this as a race issue and trying to dig up other issues. I think we can just deal with this issue separately. Just look at it in isolation and just deal with it and make sure we hold whoever that is found guilty accountable. Like I said, I would really like to see this kid do a bit on this. Definitely.
I'll say wait until the court finds him guilty. Well, I don't agree with murder again, but if he's guilty for it, then sure, he needs to go down for it. But we don't know all the details of the case other than what we've seen online, what we're reading and seeing online. There are tons of misinformation out there, and you just got to make sure your information is verified. And I'll say, don't jump into conclusion. We don't know all the facts surrounding the case. We're only able to see what's been put out there. We know someone died. We know someone was stabbed. We know somebody stabbed somebody. Those are the facts on the case. But I'm not a lawyer, and I'm sure the defendant will get his own day in court, and the family of the plaintiff will hopefully get the justice that is appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, we are talking about plaintiff and a defendant. Well, unfortunately, the plaintiff is not here to defend himself or to talk about what happened. So now it will be just the defendant putting up, just telling the court whatever he feel is comfortable or he feel is can get him off the hook. So, I mean, it's a very sad situation. It's unfortunate, that both of them are not going to be able to stand before the jury to plead their case. I mean, even the thought of, as a parent, thinking that, realizing that somebody died from an avoidable situation, something that, both parents could have, probably come together to, to settle, and then, ended up like this. And as a parent, it doesn't sit well with me. Um, and for the father, the other guy, the one that is alive, the defendant, is alive. I mean, it tells, like you said, we are not lawyers, we are not juries, we are not judges, but I mean, that's everything we need to know about the case. And somebody definitely need to go down for it, because when the issue of George Floyd happened, George Floyd wasn't there, and everybody that was involved, almost every single one of them, went down for it. And we shouldn't be so. I'm talking to people that look like us, our brothers. We shouldn't be so engrossed in race issue that we are not able to call things as they are. We are not able to separate issues. We are not able to, when things happen, we are not able to pass, to look at it as a human being, not just as, as a group of people, not just as a race. We need to, look at issues as human beings, and also trying to see if the thing, had happened to you, how you would react. From what I'm seeing on the social media, a lot of people are just being too emotional about it, and they are not putting themselves in the situation of the victim's family. They are not thinking, I don't think they are thinking as a human being. A lot of people are thinking as a black people, black person versus white people. That is not how it's supposed to be. Yes, we are talking about life. Somebody died from the situation, and we need to look at it, as a human being, not just as black and white, black versus white issue.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It's not a race issue. I believe it's a fight between two kids that got escalated into fatality. So it's a sad situation. It's sad that a parent had to lose a kid for an avoidable situation. But at the same time, there's gonna be a lot of misinformation out there. It shouldn't be looked at from the aspect of race. It should be looked at on the aspect of the issues surrounding the case. Again, we're not lawyers. We're going to see how the case will play out in the next few months or even years. But as we all know, a lot of people are going to say crazy things online, are going to try to look at it from the aspect of a race, from the aspect of black versus white. They should not be looked at from that aspect. They should be looked at on the merits of the case should be considered and everything surrounding the case. It's sad that the parent had to lose the kid. It's sad. I'm sure the boy that stabbed the other guy will, even if he's sent to jail or whatever happens, now whatever is decided, whatever the court decides or the jury decides, we know it's not gonna bring the dead boy back. At the same time, the guy is never gonna live a normal life, because his face is out there. Yeah, the guy's never going to live a normal life. So unless they relocate to another country where they're not known, I don't think anything would ever remain the same. It's a big change for both families, and I just hope that a lot of people should start making up stories online. I know we've seen stories where they're saying that the families took the GoFundMe money to buy a home, to buy a new car. The mother of the kid released a statement saying that that was a lie. All of that didn't happen. I just hope that people will leave them alone, leave both families alone, and just let the justice system play itself out.
And this is showing us how how I'm not the most moral person. I'm not the most upright person, but this is, showing how morally bankrupt a lot of people are. How would somebody possibly be donating to that cause to put up a defense? What kind of defense are you donating? Donating to? It made me question what the intent of the people donating for that cause. What's the reason for the donation? There are things we should be donating to, things we should be doing as human beings. Well, donating to that cause, to donating to, for his defense is definitely not one of them, because like I said, or like we've been saying since, we are not lawyers, we are not juries, we are not judge, but I wouldn't even see myself donating to that cause, because the boy woke up, he took a shower, dressed up for school, left the house, thinking about what he was going there to do. And he thought about it, probably slept on it, probably started from the night before, from the day before. He slept on it, thought about it, carefully planned out, how he was going to play it out. And then he went to school and executed his plan. That was premeditated. I don't think anybody that has any iota of moral should be donating to that cause. You can go look for money to put off a defense. Anyone donating to that cause, maybe we should be questioning the person, trying to understand his intent or their intent for donating to that cause. I really and truly would, want to know why people are donating to that cause to the tune of $500,000. That is insane. If people are donating for somebody, to go to college for a good cause, yeah, definitely, by all means. In fact, I'll probably be borrowing money to donate as well. Maybe donate from my credit card, But donating for something like this, I think is a little bit of a stretch, and it tells a lot about our society, how morally bankrupt, our society is becoming.
Yeah, it's a sad situation, whichever way you're looking at it. It's sad that someone lost their life. It's sad that both families are gonna be in a rough situation for the next few months or few years until the case is decided. And just I just hope they all find peace. I hope that both families find peace and we can move on. But it's gonna be hard moving on without their kid. it's gonna be moving on without getting proper justice or the appropriate justice they desire or they deserve.
Yeah, I mean, this is a ongoing conversation. I mean, the story will keep developing, it's still developing, and it will keep developing. We'll probably keep revisiting the case. But for me, I would really like to see them set up a GoFundMe for the victim, at least for the funeral. I'm not sure about the financial situation of the family, or the deceased family. But I mean, if people are donating for his funeral, yeah, I can understand that. But donating to for defense, yeah, it doesn't sit well with me. But I am not in a situation to tell grown folks how to spend their money. Their hard-earned money is their money. They earned it, but we should be questioning their morality because yeah, I still do not understand it. But they can do whatever they like with their money. They made the money, they can spend it however they like. So like I said, this is an ongoing conversation. We'll keep probably revisiting it as the case make its round to, through the court, and then we'll see how they decide it. For me, I think I would definitely like to see the guy do some bid on that, and maybe nothing less than 70 or 100 years. We're talking about life.
Yeah, and we know that the defendant has taken a lot and he should pay for it. We'll let the court do all their thing, let the jury make the decisions, and we'll go from there. So thank you all for joining us. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, and comment. Let us know your opinion. If you're part of the people that donated to support the defendant, let us know what you think. How do you think the case should play out? And yeah, we hope to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. And thank you for watching us.
Yeah, definitely. And let us know what you think about the whole situation. Put yourself in the, put yourself in the position of the deceased family, and put yourself in the position of the defendant's family, or the defendant, and let us know what you think. Look at it from the both perspective. Let us know what you think. We'll be in the comment section. Thank you.
Thank you.